Think your life's tough? You wouldn't survive a day in medieval times. Modern conveniences have made us weak, and the daily challenges medieval folks faced would leave you stunned. Let's explore medieval food, the kind that'd send you racing back to the 21st century faster than you can say fast food. Forget those movie scenes of lavish feasts with huge roasted drumsticks. Regular people's meals were dull, monotonous, and downright risky. Peasants survived mostly on a dish called pottage, a thin, watery broth made from whatever veggies they could cultivate, simmered in the same pot for days. It was the medieval take on a mystery casserole, except it hid bugs and grime instead of sneaky greens. Bread was the go-to for nearly everyone, but it wasn't the soft, sliced kind we love today. Medieval loaves were heavy, dark, and packed with surprise grit. The flour, ground with stone mills, often mixed in tiny rock fragments, forcing people to develop tough teeth. Not from genetics, but from gnawing on what was essentially gravelly dough. Here's a chilling detail. Much of the bread carried ergot, a mold on rye that caused hallucinations, burning sensations, and even death. Some experts think ergot outbreaks might have fueled witch hunt frenzies, with whole villages hallucinating and pointing fingers at neighbors. Turns out, it was just a baker's sloppy hygiene. Meat was a rare treat for most, and when available it was often on the verge of spoiling since refrigeration didn't exist. To cover the taste of turning meat, they'd use pricey spices if they could afford them. Otherwise, they'd pinch their noses and pray. The 5-second rule back then stretched to a 5-day rule. Anything edible was fair game. The worst part? You couldn't wash it down with water. Most sources were tainted with human waste and filth. Instead, everyone, even kids, drank ale or beer, a weaker brew safer than water, thanks to the boiling process. Research suggests the average peasant downed about 8 pints daily, with children as young as 5 sipping ale with every bite. Medieval kids didn't need fake IDs for drinks. They needed them to find clean water. Fish was another staple, usually preserved by drying or salting since fresh catches went bad fast. Coastal dwellers might snag fresh fish, but inland folks got deliveries days or weeks old. The smell alone could knock you out. By now, your stomach's probably churning, which leads us to the next medieval nightmare. For the average person, using the bathroom meant a chamber pot, a simple bowl or bucket stashed under the bed. Once full, you'd empty it yourself, or wait for someone to haul it away, usually dumping it straight out the window into the street below. The medieval look out below wasn't about dropping objects, but about incoming waste. This custom was so widespread that in some towns, you could only toss it after 10 p.m., with a shout of gardez-l'eau from the French gardez-l'eau, meaning watch out for the water, though it was far less pleasant. In castles you might find a garderobe, a stone seat with a hole dropping waste down the wall. Archaeologists at Dover Castle found one plummeting nearly 70 feet. For those caught short outside, options were grim. Public spots turned into open sewers. In London, rare common privies over rivers existed, but waste collection fell to gong farmers, who cleared cesspits at night. The stench clung so badly they were banned from public spaces, yet they earned 4 times a laborer's wage for the misery. The smell of medieval towns was infamous. The River Thames in London was dubbed a monster of stink from pollution. Toilet paper? Not a chance. People used leaves, moss, their left hand, or, if wealthy, wool scraps. Romans once used sponges on sticks rinsed in vinegar, but that know-how faded by medieval times. After a day of ale to dodge waterborne illness and no decent bathroom, you'd crave the 21st century. But sanitation was just one brutal reality. Most lived as peasant farmers, toiling from dawn to dusk on noble-owned land. A typical day: rise at sunrise, work until sunset, collapse, repeat until death. Records from medieval England show farmers burned over 4,000 calories daily from manual labor. No gym needed, just survival. Non-farmers faced harsh trades. Blacksmiths labored in smoky forges risking burns and toxic fumes, while tanners worked with urine and chemicals, turning their skin yellow with a stench that trailed them. Apprenticeships started at 7, with kids working 6 or 7 days a week for 14 years to become journeymen. Medieval career advice was simple. Can you haul heavy loads? Yes. Farm. No. Early grave. Jobs for the desperate included link boys lighting paths for the rich or pure finders gathering dog waste for tanners. Pay was a pittance. 1 or 2 pennies a day, enough for 2 loaves of bread. Minimum wage meant the least to keep you alive. With grueling work and poor diets, bodies broke down fast. Disease was rampant, medicine was a joke, and healthcare was torture. Medieval WebMD had one diagnosis: you're likely doomed. A cold we'd cure with rest could kill without germ knowledge. Illness was blamed on bad air or imbalanced humors. Blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile. Fever. Time for bloodletting. Slicing a vein to drain blood into a bowl. Leeches were a hit, with one text suggesting 70 at once for ailments. Child mortality hit 30% before age 5. Life expectancy hovered at 30 to 40, and the Black Death wiped out half of Europe's population mid-14th century. Dental woes were brutal. No toothbrushes meant rampant decay, and dentists waited for screams. Medicines like mercury for syphilis or skin issues often killed faster than the disease. Hygiene was a myth. Wiping hands on dirty clothes was their sanitizer, spreading germs further. If the legal system didn't get you, medieval justice was a nightmare. Laws varied by town. What was fine in one village could land you in a dungeon 5 miles away. No legal codes existed, and peasants didn't know the rules until accused. Over 200 crimes in medieval England, like stealing food or cutting a royal tree, meant death. Trials were wild. Proving innocence meant ordeal by fire. Carrying a hot iron, healing burns meant innocence. Or water. Sink to be innocent, float to be guilty and executed. Punishment was public and savage. Hanging was lenient. Drawing and quartering. Dragged, hanged, disemboweled, beheaded, quartered, hit traitors. Nobles dodged this with trial by combat or blood money, while the poor had no defense. Prisons were holding cells. Dark, crowded, with no food unless family brought it. Torture with racks or iron maidens forced confessions, often leading to execution. Stocks and ducking stools humiliated minor offenders publicly. Warfare was chaotic and deadly. The 100 Years' War, 1337 to 1453, dragged on for 116 years, with peasants facing constant conflict. Only rich knights had full armor. Most wore padded cloth. Weapons like longbows pierced armor, and battles like Towton, 1461, killed 28,000 in a day. Disease killed more than fighting. Crusades lost half their men to illness. Armies looted villages, burning crops and homes, while sieges like Paris, 885 to 886, drove people to eat rats. Civilians fled or faced slaughter. Daily life reeked. Towns stank of waste, rot, and smoke, with people using herb pouches as air fresheners. Baths were rare, lice common, and clothes rough and unwashed. Language was a barrier. Middle English was alien to us. Privacy vanished in one-room homes. Entertainment was executions or animal baiting. And the feudal system locked 90% as peasants. Superstition ruled. News crawled by messenger. And social mobility was nil. Romanticized in stories, medieval life was a relentless grind. Modern perks like antibiotics and plumbing feel like a miracle after this dive.